Hello everyone, my name is Varsha and welcome to my channel Planting Passion. Now the monsoons have finally arrived in my city and the intensity of light entering indoors has reduced a lot. But the good thing is the humidity indoors is now between 75 to 80%. Making it the perfect time to finally complete a lot of my plant work, which mainly includes repotting all these beautiful plants on this tray. Now, some of these plants have either outgrown its nursery pot, and I also have a few of my plants resting in water since they had been shipped from another city. So I'm going to begin with my very first plant, which is the Philodendron Majestic, which is sitting in water. Now, if you have watched my unboxing video, then this plant will be familiar. So let's just first get started with the repotting. The Philodendron Majestic is a really beautiful plant, and I had this shipped all the way from Mumbai. Now, in order to plant this philodendron, I am going to use a small terracotta pot. And since this plant is a climbing philodendron, I've also prepared a moss pole yesterday. And in addition to that, I have also prepared an airy soil mix for my philodendron. Now, the soil mixture for this plant is not chunky because the roots are quite delicate. And I'm going to first start off by layering the base of my terracotta pot with some cocoa chips in order to close the drainage hole in the pot. I'm not sure if you're able to see this. Yeah, so I'm just going to first layer the base or cover the drainage hole with cocoa chips. Just a small amount of it would suffice. Next, I'm just going to place my moss pole in the pot. So next, I'm just going to cover my cocoa chips with the soil mixture that I have prepared. Now, as I said earlier, the soil mixture is not really chunky because the roots are quite delicate. Okay, so I have used a lot of perlite in my soil mixture so as to help with the aeration, and the chances of having or getting root rot is quite less when the soil mixture is airy. Now I have my plant ready. Now as you can see, it has a lot of roots. They're quite thin, they look quite delicate. So I'm going to place the roots gently in the pot over my soil, and then I'm going to cover the soil, cover the roots with my soil mixture. Just gently tap my pot, and it looks like it is good to go. Now, this is my beautiful Alocasia Azlani. I've had this plant for a few months now, and when I got this plant, it came in this plastic pot, and this plant has been growing in sphagnum moss. So to plant this Alocasia, I'm going to use a terracotta pot. Again, it's going to be a small one, but the medium that I'm going to use for this Alocasia is going to be sphagnum moss. Since it has been growing in sphagnum moss, I want to retain the same media. So I'm going to first gently remove this plant from the pot. I'm just going to gently slide down this wooden spoon into the pot so that I can remove the plant easily. Oh yeah. Wow. So not really sure if you're able to see the roots. I'm not going to disturb the plant, the roots of this plant, by loosening it at the base. I'm just going to simply place this plant in the terracotta pot. Now, since I'm going to use sphagnum moss, I had already soaked my sphagnum moss in water, and I'm going to just use that over here. I'm going to first add it to the base of my pot. And let's just see this. I think this is good enough. So next is my Epipremnum pinnatum. Now I've had this plant for a few months, and it came as a very small plant with just one single stem, and I had made a cut in the mother stem, and now I have two plants growing in this pot. So what I want to do right now is shift this plant to another pot and provide this plant with a moss pole, because this is a climbing plant. As you can see, this plant has a lot of aerial roots, and by providing this plant with a moss pole, this plant will climb up, and hopefully it should get to the size that it is known for. So let me first start off by removing this plant from its pot. Yeah, I've used a lot of perlite in this. Wow, look at the root system. It's sitting really nicely. Wow. Oh. Ah. Finally. Wow. Look at this. Okay, so I'm not going to disturb the base of the roads actually. We'll maybe just gently try to open up a bit, not much. No, I'm just going to let it just be as it is. So I'm going to use this pot for another plant. Let me just keep this aside. Now, since I'm going to have this climbing on a moss pole, I'm going to use a slightly bigger pot. Okay, and I have a moss pole already prepared, and what I'm going to do again is layer the base or cover the drainage hole with cocoa chips. I'm going to actually add a lot in this. I'm not going to use much. Okay, I'm just going to first, again, this is a nursery pot which I had bought from my local nursery. And let me just, place this. Oh, yeah, so let me just have this sitting. Yeah, looks good. I'm just first going to add a layer of soil. I'm going to try to add a little bit more of the chunky bits as well. Not open it up completely because sliding inside pretty easy without any issues. I mean, I can use the same perlite or the same soil mixture. I mean, it's okay. Probably just add a little more of my soil mixture to this. Isn't it pretty? So I like to use a jute thread to tie my plants, any of my climbing plants, to the moss pole, because I don't know, I think that they don't really harm the plant, so I really prefer using this over any other material. There you go. Now I have two different Anthurium varieties with me, and both of them are growing in two different mediums. So the first Anthurium of mine, which is, I think, is a cross of Anthurium Radicans into Dressleri. I'm not really sure. And this one is growing in a soil media and it is in a plastic pot. And the second one is an Anthurium Papillilaminum. I think that's how you pronounce it. Or maybe not, I'm not really sure. But I'm going to give the spelling of this plant anyways on the screen. So this plant has been growing in sphagnum moss. It came in this very same cup, plastic cup, and I haven't changed it from the time it arrived. So what I'm going to do now is I'll start off with my very first Anthurium. I'm going to move this plant into a terracotta pot, and yeah, I'm going to use this one. Yeah, it's roughly the same size, slightly bigger. And I am first going to gently remove the plant from its pot. As you can see, this plant has a lot of roots coming out from its pot. Now, this is one of the beautiful varieties of Anthuriums which I have in my home. From what I've observed, this plant really does like my home environment, it has been throwing out a lot of new leaves now and then. Oops, I better be careful. Yeah. Wow, just look at this. Finally. Wow. So this plant has been sitting in a very airy soil mixture. I can see that it has a lot of perlite in it, and I'm going to try to replicate the same for this plant. I'm going to pretty much do the same soil mix which I used for my philodendron for this plant as well. So again, just layer the base or cover the drainage hole first with the cocoa chips. So I'm going to layer the pot with my soil. Gently loosening it up a little bit. Yeah, so I'm not going to do much. That's it. I'm not going to do anything else. I'm going to place this plant back in the terracotta pot and gently cover . With my soil. Yeah, so this looks good to go. Yeah, the plant seems all secured. And yeah, this is all set to be watered. Yeah. So I'm going to keep this one aside and okay, I'm just trying to remove this plant from its plastic pot. You have to be really careful with this because this plant has been growing in sphagnum moss, and there's a very high chance that I can damage the roots. Yeah. Oh, yeah, there you go. Looks like it's going to come out easily without any issues. Oh, okay. Yeah, okay, I'm not going to disturb this. Oops, yeah. So I'm going to take my pot over here and I'm going to use my sphagnum moss, which is already soaked in water. Okay, so I need to give it a little bit of height. It's a very small plant, so Yeah. So this is all good to go as well. So now we finally come to the last plant of the day, and this beautiful plant is my Philodendron Brandtianum. And again, this plant had actually come home a few days back. It had come all the way from Mumbai, and I had placed this plant in water. Now I'm going to move this plant again to a terracotta pot. I've used a really small one. I couldn't get a terracotta pot a size smaller than this, so I'm just going to use the same one. For this plant, since it's a climbing plant, I'm going to use a moss bowl. Now I had run out of sphagnum moss, so I could not make the moss bowl which I usually like for all my plants, and I had this this old moss bowl of mine, which I had bought from my local nursery a couple of years back, and it's still in a really good shape. So I'm going to keep this one aside and start off with the potting. So I start off first by covering the drainage hole of my pot and adding my soil mixture. Let me just first secure the pole. So I'm just going to, I mean, it doesn't look the best, but it's okay. I mean, it's going to do the job and it's fine. Yeah, so I'm going to just add a bit of my soil again over here. And take out this little plant from the water. And let me see, this is where the aerial roots are going to come out from. So I think I might have to use a bit of sphagnum moss. Oh wait, let me just try to lift this plant a little bit more because it's way too down for it. This is how I want it. I think the last time when I had done a repotting video, I forgot to wear my gloves, and again I forgot to wear my gloves today. But it's always good to wear gloves when you're doing any kind of planting work. Yeah, I think this is good. Now, since this is a really small plant and there is no moss or cocoa coir in the base of the pole, I'm just going to use a little bit of my sphagnum moss. over a period of time, this plant is going to grow, and it's going to climb up the moss pole. Hopefully the size of the leaves will also get bigger. This one looks a bit damaged, but that's okay. I think I'm going to wait for the new leaf to come out. I have finally repotted all my plants today, and I've also watered each of them thoroughly. Honestly, I'm feeling really happy with the work that I've done today, and I'm also a bit proud of the fact that I've not just managed to stick to the plan but also execute it. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed it, please do click on the like button. You can also click on the subscribe button if you haven't subscribed to my channel. You can also click on the bells icon to get notifications on new plant videos. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope to see you in my next plant video. It's a bye from us.